Okay, here we go.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Bell and Company.
Yes, it is. Another edition here of Bell and Company on Intellectual Radio. I am Mario J. Bell, the host, and that voice you hear, we were gone for a week because she wasn't feeling too good. That's Libby. Hey, Libby.
Yeah, I had a bad cold.
Yeah, we'll call it a cold,
better.
right? Uh-huh.
It wasn't cold. I hope it wasn't COVID. I didn't
The
get
test didn't
tested.
say it was the bad C word, so you're
yeah,
okay, and
it's
you're
just
here
a
with us
cold.
this week.
I didn't throw up like you. So I'm
Yeah,
good.
I know. I wasn't feeling good either. I'll tell you that I've had people have heard this over and over again, but it seems like it keeps coming back. You know, when I think I'm great, I'll run a marathon one day, and the next day it's like, oh, need to go back in the hospital. So that's never fun. But I'm okay this week. I've had no issues.
Better.
And then Joe's back with us. Hey, Joe, you're doing good.
I'm doing all right. I've been exhausted.
Yeah, you keep busy. You know that? You got a lot going on.
I guess.
But you got a couple days off for the holiday, right?
Yes, I'm so thankful. I'm just gonna hide in a cave.
He won't do anything.
That's
But we
like
are
me.
doing a show that Sunday. You know, a week from today, we'll be here for
Oh,
Thanksgiving
yeah,
week.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we'll be here. I hope all the guests show up. I think they will. It's something to do when they're done being with family for 4 days straight or whatever.
Heck yeah, might as well go vent about whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah. You know, and of course they have their topics. But anyway, that's next weekend. This weekend is a really cool show, and we got a full house. If you're watching on the live YouTubes or Facebooks, you'll see that we have two guests today in the studio because there's a reason why, and I'll let them introduce ourselves. Well, we'll go. You're sitting closest to me. We'll start with you. Hello, sir.
Hello. My name is Henry.
Hey, Henry.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh yeah, all right. The favorite radio quote. There
But,
we go.
But thanks.
I hope so.
thanks
You know,
for
I've been
having us
doing this a
on.
while, but not here. We've been here a little less than a year. 6 months or whatever, 7 months.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, but we're glad you're watching the videos, maybe, or the podcast afterwards.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us on. My name's Henry. I run a audio drama podcast that's won a couple awards, and it's a thing we do all the time at a brewery. And the man himself, who's the brewery owner, is also here. and
We've
the main
got the
actor in our
brewer.
show.
Hey,
So go ahead there.
go ahead and introduce yourself. Hi.
Thank you for having me on as well. My name is Paul. I run Skeleton Key Brewery, and I also co-produce and act with Henry in the Spectral Silhouette, our audio drama show.
This is great. This is a perfect place to talk about it because we kind of we don't have to stop every 5 minutes for ads. I mean, I do have some, but we don't have to air them. And it's a little less structured, but it's not as rehearsed. Well, this is off the cuff. I haven't written a lot of stuff down. Just we know what you guys are here doing and talking about, and that's about it. So just so you know. It's not like I'm going to go to paragraph 1 and then paragraph 2, and then announcer says this, and then Harry says it. No, we don't do that. But anyway, let's get right into that because that was one of my favorites. I mean, old time radio is what made me want to get involved with broadcasting in the first place. I mean, they call it old time radio, but back in the day, it was radio production. I mean, that's what you did. You didn't have a lot of news stories. You had like newsreels, updates, or whatever. And then it was all like what's a classic one, a good one. Here we go. Everybody knows this one, the Shadow.
Oh yeah.
So there's a perfect example. Abbott and Costello were on radio before they did TV and movies.
Green Hornet.
Green Hornet. There
Yep.
you go.
Oh,
There's so many good ones. And then you guys how long have you been doing this play?
So it started.
2022.
Sorry. So
There you go.
yeah,
I was gonna say
I was gotta get up a little closer to that. I got to lean. I got that weird lean. It started as a way I was writing songs with a friend of mine doing like jazz tunes. And I was like, we could either release this as an album and people would listen to it once and then never listen to it again. Or I always wanted to do an old school radio show. So I was like, why don't we put our songs in a radio show? So I wrote a script and it was the first time we ever did it. And we did it at his brewery. And it was a huge hit. It ended up being a thing where like the first night sold out to the point where now we're at 2 nights and they sell out super quick, and it's all because people are interested in old time radio now.
And your audience, I'm thinking, is probably not just like people that were around when that was radio, right? In the 40s, for instance, 30s. These are younger kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like now more than ever you have with so many podcasts going on Spotify and everywhere else. There's a lot of narrative driven podcasts that are really popular, where kids teenagers are listening to this stuff again, and it's literally old time radio just updated with a new sheen, a new gloss.
Yeah, right.
It's the same
I
kind of
agree.
idea, though.
Not everything is just chatting about news headlines or whatever. There's some that are specifically like a play, which I love. I mean, that's what I always liked about radio back in, listening to old time radio, is it was more like almost like theater
of the mind,
but theater of the mind with some audio in there, right? Obviously. Yeah, because, it wasn't like today is, I mean, like you just said that it's, you're seeing more of those podcasts like old time radio, but a majority of stuff is somebody like, we hate this and we love this, or we hate that. And it's a lot of politics too, which, we don't really do a lot here, except Libby hates certain people. And she'll say that every once in a while. She'll blurt out like she's got Tourette's. She hasn't done it yet today. She's good so far. But I mean, there's just, I mean, you guys will be like a classic thing. You mentioned Spotify. Where else? Did you make an album? Did you record it like to sell it?
Yeah. So we the episodes themselves. So we're actually on our 3rd season now. We've been doing this for, as of now, 3 years, and I think we're 19 episodes deep or 20 episodes about. The last season finale we did was a 2-hour musical. It had
oh wow,
it had 20 songs in it. So I guess I should start by explaining the show, right?
Yeah, we
That
should
would
talk
help.
about the show itself.
All right.
Now let's get more
So,
detail
like
about
you
the
were
actual
saying,
show.
when I was a kid, my parents loved old time radio, so I grew up on the Shadow and stuff like that, and the serials of yore. And
I forgot about Superman had one. Batman and Robin even had them.
Absolutely.
Forgot about those guys.
Yeah, there were so many great choices. Even comedy, if you wanted comedy, if you wanted romance, it was like a movie. You would find something that you enjoyed, and there was a lot of that to listen to. But we started the show, and it started as like a 30-minute episode with like 2 songs in it, and then it grew to like every time we try to top what we did the last time. So the episodes got longer. We had more songs, and when we perform, we actually do it at his brewery.
Paul's influence you saying, I want to sell some more beer. Do it longer. Make it longer shows, right?
Well, he was an actor before he was a brewery owner, and he went to LA, and he was, I mean, I'll let you handle that side of stuff. But on my end, when I met him, I knew that he acted, and I knew that he was good at what he did and liked old time radio. So the two of us immediately were like, we're going to do this show. It's going to be great. We're going to do it live at your brewery. And we didn't know if people would like it. And the first time we did it, the room sold out. And I was like, holy crap, like people care. Like it's something like, especially as a songwriter, when you're trying to get people to hear your stuff. And Joe knows what I'm talking about as being a musician as well. It's hard to get people to care. And sometimes you have to repackage your music in a different way. And that's how the show started. But the shift happened where people cared more about the show. So now we're at this point where
crazy.
It's like people want to hear what happens to our characters.
I mean, if you open some of the apps, I mean, there's so much you can look at. I agree.
It's
I mean,
true.
And a lot of people now are allowing you to be distributed. Intellectual Radio has always been on most of them, but now everybody seems to be able to do a podcast, and you can get them on Spotify. You get them on. There's a new one I've been seeing, Podtail. I never heard of that one before this year.
Yeah,
but you're on iHeartRadio. You're on them all. But are you featured necessarily? Now that's the next thing, right?
Right.
But it's really kind of cool that that it's available. But how do you stand out? I mean, you're about to mention that. So you basically turned a radio play into a podcast.
Yes.
And helped sell beer at the brewery, basically.
Well, that's an added bonus. But I would say we really just started just wanting to do the show, and it went from being like, oh, we'll just do it once to like now we have a full jazz band every time we play. That plays like it's like going to a jazz club for the night. They open the show. And people there's a food truck, people grab food, people grab their beers. We do the show. We have an intermission. Everybody comes back. The band plays. It's a really great setup. Do
you take a break like they used to do where you say, and now time for Geritol or whatever? You do like that, and then we have the brewery commercial?
Skeleton Key Brewery serves as the sponsor. So the commercials are all internal Skeleton Key Brewery commercials, which, works really well when you're already there.
Uncle Marty's prune sauce or whatever we just make up stuff. So the way the show actually works too is like we do a commercial break, and the commercial break is always about the brewery, but we always do something crazy or goofy or whatever with it. Like for the Christmas shows, we wrote Christmas carols, based on the beers, and it's always something different. So we always do something different with it. But
what's a line from that?
Oh God, there's so many. I don't even know, man. Like I think the craziest thing we did though was last season ending with it was a 2-hour show. It was the longest show we ever did, and it was a musical, and everyone in our cast had a song.
It almost killed.
And we have a 15-person cast.
That had to be kind of interesting. Hearing everybody, maybe they don't want to sing. Did you want to be a singer? You are now, right?
He's great.
I'm a decent singer.
He's our Liam Neeson. He does everything. He's wonderful. He's great.
That's pretty cool.
But I'd like to pass it to you if you want to, talk about our synergy. I guess.
So
yeah.
we should probably
What's your
explain
role
what
in the
show
play?
is
Let's
about,
start.
actually. I mean,
Yeah.
so the show is called the Spectral Silhouette Radio Show.
Say it again, slower.
Sorry, the Spectral Silhouette Radio Show.
Got it.
You can find it on all your streaming services, Spotify, Red Circle, everything. But basically, the story is about a detective named Monty who has a partner named Penny. And Monty, before the show began, basically the preamble to the show is that Monty at one point was shot and lying dead on an operating table for 5 minutes. And while he was dead, he got the spirit of a deceased mobster named Syl stuck in his head. So when he came back to, he still has Syl stuck in his head. So he's the only one that can hear this deceased mobster, who basically helps him out with the supernatural side of the cases that he works on and stuff. In return for the help, one day Monty's going to help him figure out who killed him, actually.
Okay.
But that's basically how it is. And every week it's basically serialized. We may have some ongoing storylines that play through. But every week
that it's him now. That the gangster is talking. I guess you do different voices then, right?
Well, we have two separate actors for.
Okay.
So he plays Monty, and then we have a separate actor playing the ghost, and only Monty can hear the ghost.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're on adventure, and Monty's all about quips. It's all like quick little lines. And
It's not Paul talking to himself, like turning his head left and right. Okay, because
I would love that though.
Some radio guys
that would
do
be
that.
awesome if I saw that. If we had you if we had a one-man play, just did a monologue, it'd be great. I would love it.
This concept is just so wild. I mean, you're not the only ones doing it. Obviously, there are other, like I know the college I went to for a couple of years, College of DuPage, had one. I don't think it's on their list of shows that they do at their theater, but they did at one point.
Do you know what it was called by any chance?
I can't remember which one it was, because there's two of them I've seen. One of them was in and this is for people aren't from Chicago area. These are all western suburbs. But one of them was also in Woodridge, I think, but traveled around.
Really?
And it was well, not the same concept as you guys, but the point is that it was like a 2-hour radio play.
That's cool.
And so there is a group of people that are doing just this, but not at the brewery.
Right.
Obviously, it's it's their own. They travel around to theaters and do it.
Well, and the fun thing about the way that Henry has this all set up is, again, like he mentioned, we have an incredible local jazz group that plays called the Black and Blue Hearts. It does all the music for us that Henry writes. But we basically record. We record in the studio, which is what makes it out onto Spotify and all the streaming services. And then, like you said, every other month we do the alternating live performances, so people can come in, see it, and then ideally a month later or so they can listen to the same episode that they got to see live, but polished and done in a studio.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you. How does it work? Like, do you start and stop then, or okay? So there's the live show, and then there is the actual studio session where you probably are, segmenting and putting it together as you go.
Right. Yeah. It's more controlled. It's a more. Sorry, I'm bad at this. It's a more controlled environment doing the studio stuff. But when we start a season, we do at least 9 to 10 episodes, 2 to 3 songs per episode. But even every other month we do live shows at the brewery. And in between that, we still release episodes that we've recorded in studio form.
The live ones, are you also recording those?
Well, we record them, but we still do them in studio beforehand.
Got it.
Because it gives all the actors a chance to really figure out what they're going to do with their characters and give them some time to you know what I mean? Put things together.
So when I hear this, it's been live to tape, basically, the ones that are going out on Spotify and everywhere else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we record our shows with video and stuff just to put it on YouTube, but those are more just for the live experience,
Have you thought about taking it on tour?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you about. How about going around besides the brewery?
Yeah, we've had a lot of offers as far as other venues and stuff. The main thing for me has been, well, obviously my partnership with Skeleton Key and my friendship with Paul would be
shout out to the beer because it's fantastic.
Great beers,
Oh,
great beers from a great guy.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you, brother.
Sure.
But with those offers, my one caveat would be yeah, we'll do it, but we want Skeleton Key on tap, and in my opinion, that's how I view it, because it's a partnership where I'm not trying to sell their beer, but because of how closely we work, it's that's obviously how things should go.
Why not?
Quality.
Why not celebrate? It's just
That's
like
quality.
I said, the old time
that's
radio.
real.
What was that? Go ahead, Joe. What?
Oh, I was just saying that's quality. That's real. It's just a loyalty to a friendship and a good partnership in general.
Right.
Indeed.
Right.
What I was going to say is it's not like they haven't done it in the past.
Gino's
Again,
pizza rolls.
yeah, I mean, and I keep thinking,
Can they sponsor us? Holy crap! I'll
Yeah,
take
I want
that.
cool.
Tito's money for sure. Yes.
Yo,
well,
for
I keep
sure.
saying Geritol, which is now a different. I don't even know if they're still in. That was the one that sponsored all the game shows around the radio and TV. So that's what I'm thinking of. But why not? Why not have?
Well, back in the day, you got to watch, Lucy and Ricky step off and sell Lucky Strikes.
There you go.
Doctors recommend Lucky Strikes unfiltered.
Ladies,
another
Are
example.
you pregnant? Smoke Lucky Strikes. Yeah, those
exactly.
old commercials. Yeah.
And they were smoking. Even the Flintstones did.
Yeah.
But again, those are
Yeah.
that wasn't live radio plays, but it's kind of the same concept though. They just had a camera roll instead of just mic. But I want to get into the details of how it's done. Then, so I get that you do pre-record it, but are you standing on a stage? You guys are like interacting with each other, or are you sitting in a studio like this in front of mics like we're doing?
Well, it's both. When we do the studio stuff, we record everything in house. We have our own little studio that we have everyone come and record ahead of time. And then when we do it live, though, they're doing it live. And we have 6 microphones on a stage next to a full jazz band. And then we have 2 sound guys, both running sound effects, because there's tons of sound effects in these shows. So we have both of them running sound. But that's our setup. Like, it's really, we run with a really like small crew, but everyone's so good at what they do. It's worked out.
That's great.
Is it like the old style sound effects?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
One of the main things we've been trying to implement, I think with this season, we were talking about trying to do sound effects live, because right now what we have is like the canned stuff that's recorded ahead of time that I'm like,
okay.
and then our guy, my brother, he's our sound effects guy, but he'll hit things in the cues in this, in the script.
They're like
Okay,
hotkeys.
okay.
He presses once.
Yeah.
He's
He's got it. So he's got like essentially like, when you see a DJ setup, it's got the colored buttons.
yeah,
it's like,
hotkeys. They call
Yeah.
it.
It's that, but it's programmed and whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
It is definitely more of a process for someone actually doing the sound effects.
Yeah.
though,
Oh, yeah.
especially with all the different sound effects that you could go to.
And we'd
There's
have
so many different products.
We would have to factor into like the logistics of it, having as big of a setup as we have, and running microphones over where the sound effects would be.
Yep.
I would think that at some point we'd have some kind of cross phasing something sonically that would be weird.
That'd be a
But my
process.
dream is to have like a sound guy with the whole production that's in front of everybody, a mic'd like table like this, hollowed out in the bottom.
And he's just there, right?
And he does like, footsteps. He'll have the shoes, or like someone gets punched. We have like meat.
Well, instead of
You
having
know.
a jazz band in the old days, they would have the actual sound people behind them.
Right.
And they probably have a band too.
Right.
I don't know if all of
Full
them did.
orchestras and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they did. I know they did, some of them. But they had the sound effects live. They did it.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problem we have is that we're tight for space. We talked about bringing the show on the road, and it's something we've talked about before too. But we top out at seats wise, we got I think 68 seats that we can sell, and then we'll do standing room for people, as well. But every inch of our room is pretty taken up because we got to have a stage for all the actors, space for all the actors, a full area for the jazz band, an area for the sound. So to throw an extra sound effect table in there is we've been trying to make it work, but it's also really tight.
You're going to have to graduate from the brewery size to like the stadium stuff. Maybe I don't know if you get that big, but that
When
like
the
a House
United
of
Center
Blues.
calls, I'm ready.
Well,
We'll make it work.
there you go. I mean, like a House of Blues in Chicago or a Reggie's or something like that in
Yeah,
Chicago.
that'd be
I'm
awesome.
talking Illinois now, Chicago. They're they would give you some room. They got
man.
pretty big stage.
We-
Metro, those
yeah.
kinds of
We've
places.
had a couple of theaters reach out about us expanding, but there's just so much logistically involved with that where I'm like, again, it's a decision I would never make without him and I being 100% on the same page.
It'll happen one day eventually.
And
We'll
also
get there.
my other partner, Winky, who isn't here tonight, Matt Winky Winkleman, who does like all of the editing and mixing and mastering for our show.
You call him Winky? Is that what you're saying? Winky?
I've known him since the 5th grade, so
Okay.
he's Winky.
So you can call him Winky.
Yeah.
All right.
He's going to
That's
be
cool.
40 and I still call him Winky.
Okay.
I don't
All
care.
right.
Might be good to have proper management before going into it. Like have
Exactly.
like a guy who could kind of guide you in that right direction,
Right.
rather than getting screwed.
What,
up.
Yeah,
like an
getting
agent.
it's
You talking about
so-
an agent.
Yeah, it's so open to being. I'm good on the creative side of things. That's where I'm happy and healthy. I like writing. I like working on music. I like working with people. It's great. It's the other side of that where Winky comes into play,
Mhm.
where he can help me.
Shout
when
out
it comes,
Winky.
Shout out Winky. He's probably watching too.
So again, your guys' true role.
Sup,
Let's
Wings?
clarify. Did you guys both produce it, or come up with the writing and everything, the scripts? I mean,
It was a mutual idea because it was literally me and him. Like my friend Colleen Wild, who's also probably watching. She's the vocalist. She's also the other lead in the show.
She's
Okay.
killer.
And
She's one of the best singers I know. And
Absolutely.
again, I started the show writing songs for her before we even started the show. And that's when the show came to fruition. And I asked him, and immediately Paul was like, dude, of course. Like, let's do this.
I don't think you finished your sentence before I said yes.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's make that
Oh,
happen.
and you're in it too.
Yeah. Well, it didn't start that way. He was always Paul was always an actor in the show as a character actor. He would play like villains and stuff. He does so many great voices. He was so good at everything. He still is great at what he does, but now he is he's the lead of the show. Due to circumstances, we've had to move people around and stuff has happened. And so
Monty.
Paul is now the lead in the show, and he does a great job. But I don't know, man. You and I think we just had the same idea.
I mean,
same stuff.
Creatively,
You know?
it's 1,000% Henry. I mean, he writes the scripts. I will look at them and be like, that's fantastic. I rarely ever have to give him any notes whatsoever because it's just wonderful stuff he puts together.
I think, and this is a real thing. This is for all you people out there.
Yeah.
Creatively, if you ever doubt yourself, get yourself someone like Paul Slayton.
Oh, okay.
Someone who just believes in your work and really supports what you do. Everybody deserves a Paul Slayton.
I need
They
one
should
of those
sell you in a
too.
store for struggling artists.
I like that.
You know?
It sounds like you guys got a real good working relationship.
Yeah.
You haven't known him as long as you've known Winky.
Well,
Matt,
yeah,
what's his real name again?
Matt Winky
Matt.
Winkleman,
Okay,
yeah.
Matt. We'll call him Matt. Hi, Matt.
He's a huge pain in my side, but we've been friends for so long that
I
it
mean,
doesn't matter.
You know, why not be friends with everybody? You're working with them all the time.
Yeah.
You know, or in this project on weekend. Let's talk about that. You're saying they're sold out shows. How many shows are there? Say in a week or a month? I know you're saying you do it once. What is it?
Every other month we do 2 live performances.
Okay.
You know, we're working with. That's the thing is we have. I mean, any given show, there's 20 people that are involved between the behind the scenes guys, the musicians, the actors. So there's a lot of people that, are involved. So to get all of those people scheduled, especially musicians who, work gigs in the weekends, we do a Wednesday and a Thursday performance because that's what everybody can do. And that it's been working out well for us so far. I wish we could do more shows, but I also have to think, we have a lot of stuff at the brewery we do separate from the Spectral Silhouette. So, when we got private events and we got other special events with the holidays and everything coming up, there's not enough time to fill that in.
Yeah.
So that's why eventually, we'd love to bring it somewhere else and do it. Because we can't do it nearly as much as we'd like to at home, basically.
So are all the
awesome
shows
that
in
you
the
do that.
future that
Thank
you
you.
have planned are already all sold out? Is that what you guys were saying? Or we got some, like, when can we see it? I guess the question live. That's what I'm getting at.
The
When
next
are you gonna-
show will be December 18th and 19th. It's our holiday special that we're doing. And tickets always go on sale 2 weeks before the Wednesday performance. So I think that's the 4th.
Okay.
Tickets will go on sale online. And they do sell out usually they'll sell out within a matter of hours on the day of.
So again, say the dates again. December
18th and 19th,
Okay.
live performances in Woodridge at Skeleton Key Brewery. Tickets will go on sale. I think it's the 4th, the Wednesday, the 4th, 2 weeks before. Yeah.
And so maybe that one's not sold out yet, but most of the time it has been. I get you.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure we got that in so people can still,
Thank you.
get some tickets for this. Cause if they're not all sold out, we'll sneak in and pretend you don't know who we are. And we'll make weird noises in the back.
We'll sneak
That's
in.
how
You
you
stay
know we're
behind the
there.
bar with the rest of them.
You're
Okay.
welcome. You're welcome. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wish you guys have put me on the spot. I can't think of the name of the play, but it's based on something that's been done before. And there's just like you guys have a bunch of people. There's like 6 or 8 people just in the regular cast, and they rotate people. And I just saw it when it was in North Riverside like a year and a half ago. And man, I'll tell you, I'll probably think of it when the show's over. But you're not.
edit the notes.
There are other shows out there similar. But it sounds like yours is unique with just the topic of it, and then of course it's at the brewery. That's pretty cool.
Well, and Henry, I'm sorry, Henry has written some incredible scripts over the years, and you did mention that it's an award-winning show because Henry has put it out there to a couple competitions and festivals, and actually gotten
we did
gotten
win
some
a couple
laurels.
of things.
Yeah.
What were those awards? That's what I was actually
what's
about
that?
to ask.
Best teeth.
Best.
No, I'm kidding. Especially on radio, right?
Mine aren't so good.
Mine
no.
are British.
Yeah,
Very-
yeah.
very
It's like a
British.
piano fell out of a window.
Quite honest.
No, it's I submitted our show when we first started doing it, and a lot of people that I submitted it to were like, "This is really cool and different," and we dig it because there's so many podcasts, like you were saying, audio dramas and stuff, but specifically what we're doing is so different from what they're doing. you know,
I
because
think so.
we're following that kind of pattern of the shadow, but like if it was now,
And it's funny to see
like the jokes are now, the things are now, like the way the music is now, but it's still kind of that, you know, everybody uses the transatlantic accents, you know, like that, you know, like it's like Gary Cooper's talking or, you know, Cary Grant or whatever. But no, it's
I think good day, old chap. No, that's English. That wouldn't be that. But I know what you mean.
well, transatlantic is literally just a combination of British and northeastern, like in the middle.
Yeah, it sounds like Connecticut,
You know, like
maybe a little bit, or New York. No, not New York. It'd be more probably like Boston,
yeah,
like Massachusetts, right?
yeah. It's
Or
like
Libby knows you like Vermont, right?
In my view.
Yeah, your senator, maybe like a Bernie Sanders sound, maybe. People who like
the
like their
Bernie
politics.
Sanders
Yeah,
sound.
I don't know. He's got a unique accent. That's why I'm thinking
What he's saying this.
it's kind of.
He's here.
But anyway, I like that you said. I don't hear people refer to that sound the way the dialect, or what do they call that? The way, like President Obama has a certain way that he talks. They call that the cadence. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've never heard somebody say it's called the transatlantic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's new to me.
Well,
I
that's-
should know that.
Key
meaning.
Brewery.
Like
You deserve it.
Yeah, like
one of those.
that's how
I
it
never-
is. Yeah.
I know what it is, but I've never heard the name. So
If you
you're
watch
like
any
me to-
movies from the 30s, 40s up to the 50s, anything with like Cagney or
Yeah.
any of those great actors,
I think of Cary Grant.
Cary Grant, Hepburn, any of them, they're all doing that transatlantic.
You know what's a
thing.
great modern example of that is Jennifer Jason Leigh in Hudsucker Proxy.
I love that
Well,
movie.
that was a
She
movie about the
nails it.
30s,
Yeah,
though.
and
Or
she
late
does.
20s.
It's
That's
the
a
whole
great
His Girl
movie.
Friday style. Yeah, she nails it.
Okay,
It's so
that's
good.
different from Senator Sanders. Sorry, Libby.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it is. What were you thinking?
I mean, I guess it is. It's a more standard English, maybe we call it. I don't know what that sounds like. It's weird, but anyway. So you have the actors sounding like that.
It started that way. I had everybody doing transatlantic, but then like certain people do, and it kind of adds to the show if they don't too.
Yeah.
Like the main actor, you'll be doing transatlantic, and it's funny when the rest of the people around you don't. It just adds
They're like,
to the
what
show.
is Paul doing? Is that
Yeah,
in the
he's like-
script? They're probably like staring at each
It's
other.
like,
See it,
I can't believe here. I'll give you a cauliflower here. You know, like they'll say stuff like that. And it's like everyone else still talks normal. It's hilarious. Like there's like little things. Like I try to look for humor in like everything that we do, you know. Specifically with him, he's such a great actor. There's nothing I write stuff down and he just does it. And
So
it's
would we
phenomenal.
call it this is a drama, comedy? What do you consider the parts?
It is absolutely hilarious, especially in person.
Okay, so there's a lot of
But you know,
comical
it's
stuff.
got
Oh,
a
yeah.
good combination of like, you know, it's the Shadow kind of meets Scooby Doo sometimes too. You know? So it
Scooby-Doo.
definitely has a bit of a
It's
And they did
silliness to it.
transatlantic accent.
It's
No,
a-
he didn't.
it's a
He was
comedy.
hippie.
It's a comedy, but I also want you to still care.
Yeah.
A little heartfelt. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
still because I feel like with comedies, the big thing is like you still need to have some kind of narrative where people care about what's happening.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you lose everybody. So it's like write something interesting and then you insert your jokes.
Yep.
You know,
It's got a spookiness to it as well. I mean, there's definitely some characters.
we
that
do a
are-
lot of
that are
like
creepy.
supernatural
Yeah.
stuff, and it'll be like, you know, monsters and vampires and all kinds of stuff.
I'd love to hear those sound effects live. Like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like he's coming in and ooh.
Oh yeah,
that
we
kind of
do. We
stuff,
do
you know?
all that, man.
But it's
we
all,
do
see,
all that.
that's the computer doing it though. I'm saying I want to hear it live.
Well, with the vampire though, we do have our upright bass player will take a bow for like the whenever he
that's
shows
cool.
up.
There we
'Cause
go.
It's like it's a callback to like Bela Lugosi, you know, like in the old Universal horror movies. Like,
Yeah.
every time he showed up, it'd be a theremin. We'd like.
Now that wasn't transatlantic. He was speaking like actual like British English.
Well, he was Romanian. I don't know
Yeah,
where he-
Romanian English mixed in,
That
whatever.
guy, I don't know where he
Yeah,
came
that
from.
wasn't
He popped out
transatlantic.
of somewhere talking like that. I
Yeah,
don't know
no,
how that
well,
happened.
I think it was for the character. Maybe not. I've never met him in real life, so I
He
don't know.
talked like that all the time.
Maybe
That was
I
his
love
life.
thank you. I love to suck your blood.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He embodied it.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
He was
Uh,
Romanian, very Romanian.
Yeah. Well, no, seriously, in real life, I'm not sure where he was from. Maybe I'm not sure. But I'm saying that's a whole nother. That's not transatlantic though. But anyway, yeah, the sound effects part is what I'm saying is pretty awesome though. I'm looking forward to going to see one where you do end up having. Is that a for sure plan? You're gonna have your live sound effects guys?
Yeah. Again, it's just it's a logistics thing. It's more about like what he was saying. It's about the amount of space we have because we already like we packed the room with people, so it's like how much can we do adding another dude
Right.
with a table because it needs to be like a table this size, maybe like here,
Yeah.
right? About this size,
Sure.
mic it up, and he has to
He's
have
got
enough.
all his instruments. On
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
I
You'd
get
have
it.
to be able to do everything on that table. So we'd have to figure out where we would even put him. Like
Under the stage.
Yeah.
A table right under you.
Well,
No,
take-
that might not work.
The
but
big thing with that though is the fun of it is seeing him do it. So I feel like
True.
Why not
why
if you-
wouldn't you put him on the show?
Yeah, if you're gonna-
or on the stage, I mean. Yeah.
right? If you're gonna add him, you need to see him doing what he's doing. Otherwise, there's no point, right?
I mean, if you've ever seen the Three Stooges clips, if you said, because they have some, very few, but there are a few where they're behind the scenes without the sound effects, it makes a huge difference. Because like when they would do live appearances, they would slap each other or look like they're slapping each other with no sound effects. So it would be kind of awkward if you guys did the play without them, wouldn't it? I mean, you got to have something, whether it's automated or the guy under the, next to you, obviously. But yeah, I think of the Stooges because they had a ton of sound effects and it was kind of done like a live radio in a way, even though obviously they did edit it. But if you look at the behind the scenes, they've got those guys doing all that stuff, like you're talking about.
Foley artists.
Speaking of important things, who's your favorite stooge?
Well, people laugh at me when I say this, but he was one of the ones that it's the guy they used during the late '60s. I mean,
I know I was going to say that.
I know.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
No, late '50s, early '60s. His name is Curly Joe Dorita. His real name.
Oh,
is Joe.
Curly
okay.
Joe.
I
Wow,
liked him better
that's
because he had a lot of. You could hear him saying little undertones better than you could hear Curly. Maybe the mics were better in the '60s. I don't know.
That is a wild card of an
That
answer.
is.
Yeah,
I was
I know.
wait,
I'm
what's
shot
your
from the
answer
hip
to that,
with
Joe?
that.
I just
I'm going Curly.
You're going Curly.
maybe I
I'm
liked
going
him because
Curly.
okay. See,
I did
everybody
like
says
Shemp,
Curly
though.
though. Everybody likes the
Mine-
original Curly.
Mine is Larry. Just 'cause
Larry fine.
Larry
1,000%.
held everything
Okay.
together.
This
He
is
was,
why- this is why
he
we
was
work
the
so well
in
together.
between.
Well, without Larry, there wouldn't be a Mo and a Shemp and a Curly, right?
Exactly.
And you needed the guy
He
in the
held the
middle.
comedy together.
There you go.
He was good
Yeah.
at what he looked. What do you call him? Pineapple head or whatever.
Well,
he always
call
had that
him
bad
several
haircut.
names,
But they-
yeah.
He had great hair. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
right. He had not much of it in the top, but he had plenty on the sides, that's for sure. Yeah, if you see him out of character, and they were in a lot of these videos from the 1960s, they look really different. I mean, they're obviously older looking, but anyway, they have a ton of sound effects, obviously, but in their live shows, they didn't use it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can watch all these videos of them, like on Ed Sullivan and stuff. It's almost a little bit sad because you don't get to hear the real loud slap noise or the poking in the eyes and stuff. But anyway,
That's why Foley artists are important.
yeah,
That's,
exactly.
That's what they. Yeah, that's literally
Exactly.
what they do, man. They
Yeah,
they make
that's-
those sound effects come alive.
Exactly.
They
That's
help the show.
and I mean, I guess even a live radio play is still called a Foley artist, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Yeah.
So we got to make room. Now we've been talking about it on and off for 20 minutes. You have to make room. We got to do it.
No,
Next
we're gonna-
show when I go to,
we're
I got
gonna
to see the
we're
live
gonna
guy.
figure it out. We're
Yeah,
gonna figure it out.
That'll be great. So how many more shows do you have planned after December then?
My plan is till I die.
Okay, book shows that you're going to sell tickets for.
We
All right.
through the end. Well, not through the end of the year. Season 1 will end in June, so we'll have basically performance in December, February, April. Wait, yes, in June. Yeah, so four
Okay.
more shows this
So
year live.
4.
Yes, with in between episodes, studio recorded episodes.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you're running your brewery, obviously, on
And
top
I'm
of
running
it.
my brewery.
What other kind of things do you have in there? You have a lot of music acts when you're not.
Yeah, I
doing
mean
this show?
that's how me and Henry first basically met. Was I booked music acts for our brewery, and we don't do like a ton of live music. A couple times a month we'll do live music, but that's where I first met Henry. It was I always like to claim that I found Henry, but I know that's not the case. I know that my stupid brother-in-law John was the one that found Henry, and he's
So he
I'm forever
was-
thankful
wait,
to him for that.
He was at your
In
brewery
an
for a
alley.
show?
in an
In
alley.
an alley.
Sleeping
Right.
in a bag.
These are little transactions. Okay.
John's my business partner. Me, my wife, and my brother-in-law own Skeleton Key Brewery, and John's is my business partner, and he's our head brewer. And he met Henry
Nice.
once and was like, "You got to have this guy show up. You got to have this guy play." And of course, I, saw Henry's stuff and was like, "Absolutely." And
You didn't know Joe then through.
I didn't. No, I
Okay.
don't know Joe.
No,
You
that's
met Joe
Henry.
tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just met
Today.
Joe tonight.
Yeah,
okay.
today. Yeah.
All right.
But that was basically that. And then once Henry started playing, we do music. Colleen. I actually knew Colleen before I knew you too. Colleen and used to play at our place as well. She's actually playing this coming Wednesday for our Black Wednesday party. Echo and Ransom. Colleen and Jason are playing.
There we
Oh,
go.
right on.
For the Black
Jason's
Friday,
great, too.
Yeah, you know
right?
Jason?
Or Black Wednesday.
Oh,
I
he's
mean.
a really
Wednesday.
good
What
He's
did
artist.
you just
awesome,
call it?
yeah.
You called it something else, not Black Wednesday. What'd you call it?
No, I said Black Wednesday.
Oh, you did say
Yeah,
Black-
it is
yeah,
Black
yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah.
I
but-
get the wax on my ears.
But yeah, we do live music. We have food trucks on the weekends. We do, a lot of private events and stuff. But today, for instance, we had our big. I'm pretty exhausted. We were there all day. We had a holiday market with 1 million people coming through today, like 15 vendors and food, and we had all our own merch released today for the holidays and stuff. So we got a guy taking my other brother-in-law taking photos for people in front of the Christmas tree.
I was like, come do an interview with me.
And I was like, all right, I'll be there. You got it.
I'm glad you brought him. This is great. I mean,
this is a good break for me.
You're technically
so lit. From one beer.
Libby is already drunk over there. Wait, now, so you're kind of in my neck. I live right near. For people who listen online are like, "Where's this?" But I live near there.
Libby's falling over.
Yeah, look, Libby's falling over to watching the camera.
Poor Libby's loopy.
Libby's small. She can't handle a lot.
So what did you give us there? Let's talk about the product. What are we?
So I brought a few of our beers today for you. We got Libby over there is drinking our Shiny, which is our Kolsch. So a nice, easy drinking, as I like to say, beer-flavored beer.
What is it? Now, Libby's talking over you. What?
It's our Kolsch. So it's a nice, easy drinking, beer-flavored beer.
Okay.
Very, very simple, very crisp and light.
It is.
Joe has 7th Evil X, which is one of our house favorites, one of our absolute best beers that John makes. It's a Schwartz beer, so it's a black lager. So it's dark in color, a little bit roasty, but it's really easy drinking. It's wonderful.
I like
very.
I would
easy,
like that one.
Very easy.
But Joe's drinking it. And then what are you drinking over here?
This is our Dankelweiss beer. So it's a Dunkelweiss. Basically, it's a dark wheat ale. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of like a dark Hefeweizen almost.
Oh, gotcha.
So a wheat, easy drinking as well. It's 5.5%. So nothing that's gonna throw you over the edge too hard.
It threw me over the edge.
But she doesn't drink all the time. And then what is it?
And then he has our Screech Gufo today, which is our hazy IPA. Our series of IPAs is called our hazy IPAs is our Gufo series. Gufo means owl in Italian. So
it's my favorite beer.
It's his
I've ever
favorite
had.
beer. And
I drink it all the time.
All of our Gufos.
It should be mentioned too, though. John is in the show as well.
John, I'm sorry. Yeah, John is in the show. My
Okay.
brother-in-law,
The brewer is
brewer
also in our show.
Oh,
as
it
well.
would be nice to know that.
He's a great actor. Yeah,
We got 30
Thanks,
minutes
John.
in and we got mentioned. Hi,
God,
John.
I hope John
great
is
actor,
here.
great brewer. But I'm sorry, I
Gotcha.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're absolutely right. But our Gufo series, every batch we do is the same malt bill with a different hop bill. So, and everyone we name after a different owl. So there's a Screech Gufo, we've had Burrowing Gufo, we've had Cloud Forest Gufo, we've had Snowy Gufo.
Wow.
So
Do we consider this a microbrewer, basically? Is that
you would
what they
consider
call
us a microbrewery, I suppose. I mean, really, we're just a small craft brewery. We do, not a huge amount of barrelage a year, but we also our main focus is to bring people into our brewery. We do a small amount of distribution, that's self-distro. So we get out to some bars and restaurants locally. We get out to some bottle shops and stuff with our packaged product. But our main goal is to draw people in. So we want to have events. We want to have private events to bring people in to enjoy our product there. Basically.
Back to the Gufo. What's your personal favorite Gufo?
I would have to say the Snowy Gufo is probably my favorite.
I was gonna say
I was like leaning
Dude,
towards just the name.
that's the
of
one I
Snowy.
still have in my mini.
Do you
fridge.
really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Snowy Gufo?
Snowy-
So
the
that
best
one's
can,
coming
too.
out.
It has
Snowy
the
Gufo.
snow
Every
peas.
every time I drink one, I'm like, I'm getting closer to the end of this. I
Is that
see
one-
the end of it.
Is that seasonal, or do we get all these all if we want?
We've never done a Gufo more than once, except for our very first Gufo that we just called Il Gufo.
Oh,
And
okay.
so now it changes every time the hop bill. So
Oh,
yeah, no, I don't. Now that we're talking about it, maybe I'll make John make Snowy Gufo again, though. That would be
well, I mean,
At least just for
It
me.
sounds worthy of another round.
Well, it is, our new Gufo comes out. It's in the tank right now. We're canning it in a couple weeks, and it's Elf Gufo, so it's kind of like our Christmas Gufo that we're putting out.
Oh, that's
you're
cool.
kind of in the middle of like you're right by the highway, but then there's not a lot of like retail, so we gotta have like reasons to go. So it's to play these beers. That's why I figured
Live
we
music,
push
food
the
trucks.
yeah.
out,
I like the food truck too. Is that every week you got
Friday
there?
and Saturday. Generally, every Friday and Saturday, it's either a food truck outside or a food pop up inside. Yeah.
Nice.
We had one today for this holiday market. We had they sold out. It was crazy. Like I said, it was just bonkers day. It was wonderful. Everything went great. Things go wrong from time to time, but today was like the perfect day, and I'm sure I'll make up for it tomorrow. Probably.
Yeah, you'll be sleeping all day on Monday, right?
That's how the
So
cookie
well,
crumbles.
I guess this is I said microbrew. So I mean that facility. I happen to know that building like we were talking off here. It's a provider glass glass doors.
There
and
are
stuff.
next door neighbors. It's an industrial building,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. So we got nice tall ceilings, and our brewery area in the back is growing and growing, which is nice. We got about 7 fermenters now in there.
That's
but
what I was gonna say. How do you
Nice.
make room for it? You had to break out some walls, raise the ceiling. I mean,
we expanded.
okay.
couple years back, we expanded right at the tail end of COVID, right before the tornado hit us and destroyed us, and we were closed for 11 months. So that was a.
Oh,
that
I
was a-
forgot
We
about
played.
that.
My band played a show at Metal Monkey.
What's your name of your band?
Primal Moon.
Dude, I was there that night. We must have met that night.
Oh, awesome.
Wait, who's your drummer?
Tony. He was the drummer.
Wait, was
of the
that the
band.
night of the tornado?
No,
Oh.
not long after the tornado, Metal Monkey, they're buddies of ours. They're not open anymore, which is too bad. But we
Yeah,
love
I
them.
know. It was a bummer.
But they had a charity event for us, and there were a couple bands that played. It's not Ramanelli's band, is it?
No, but he's good
He was there
too.
that
Yeah,
night,
they're
too. I
damn
saw
good.
him today. He was there today.
Oh,
cool.
That's awesome. That's just so
they're
funny.
closing, aren't they? Or they did.
They did close last year. Yes,
Yeah.
they did. Yeah.
I did a bunch. Well, I worked at another station, and we did a bunch of events there. So the one host, the owner of that station, Scott Davison, he'd be playing his band there like every weekend. It
Oh,
seemed
they
like.
were.
It was a cool place.
What was that,
Fun
Romeoville?
open mic.
Is that Romeoville? I think it was
Romeoville, yeah. And they had that second room that they built
Mhm.
specifically
So now
for music. Yeah.
You're getting the Romeoville people probably too.
I mean, I don't know if they're driving all the way out to me from
ki-
there.
It's kind of
but
a hike.
It is kind of a hike. But
Yeah, that's a jaunt.
I mean, not to me. I drive to Indiana for work a lot, so from our studio here in the western suburbs of Illinois. But
man,
that's
it's
me.
so funny. I thought you looked kind of familiar too, and I was like, I don't know, I know this guy.
All right.
Like we used
We
to
did
date.
know each other.
Everybody knows Joe. Come on, come on. But anyway, so I don't want for people who might have just tuned in. We're talking about Skeleton Key Brewery. We're talking about the radio play that we do there. And go ahead, say your names again. We're talking with the producer here that started it.
My name is Paul Slayton.
This is Paul. Yeah,
Hi,
right.
Paul.
I'm Henry Scherrer.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm
Hi,
6'1",
Henry.
Sagittarius.
I'm still 5
No,
foot
there is a
6.
camera for YouTube and stuff.
Hey.
All right.
No, my name is Henry, and
yeah.
I love doing the show that I'm doing, and it's thanks to this guy who's a great man that I love working with.
And again, if they want to get tickets, it's coming up already. Geez, it's already going to be December 1st. Can we believe that? So yeah, they can definitely get tickets right now. They're still available.
No,
for the
not right now.
December show.
They go on sale. On
I mean, in the
December
2
4th.
weeks before,
Yeah,
2
yeah.
weeks before.
But all our social media on Skeleton Key, we basically.
I
everyone
also
to
want to make it a point to mention him and I have also started another show that'll just be online, but it's a horror anthology show.
Yeah.
And he's written a bunch of scripts. I've written a bunch of scripts. It'll be the two of us kind of combining our powers and just making cool stuff together.
Okay.
But that'll be in January. It's called The Dark and Everything in It. It is a reference to Scarface.
I like that a lot, actually.
What do you want, Chico? The world and everything in it. It's from Scarface. But the idea is like he's such a great writer, and I always wanted to involve him in some way. And I thought, what a great idea! Like almost like a Twilight Zone, like 40-minute scripts that are just everything's different every time. You know, a
Nice.
different
Dramatic,
story.
For everything drama, horror, suspense, sci-fi.
And it works
Yeah.
great because you are so like leaning more towards like the sci-fi stuff, and I'm more the horror guy.
Yeah.
So we
But
kind of meet in the
and it
middle.
won't be a serial though. It's going to be like just every episode is
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
Okay.
it'll be like what is it, anthology, I believe.
Anthology,
Yeah, where it'll be like everything is different. Unlike our current show, which is like our current show you could probably listen to not knowing anything about it and follow it. But there are stuff with a silhouette that if you haven't
It's like the soap operas. If
you
you
want
try
to follow
tune in-
along.
What's that?
Oh, with Silhouette, you want to follow along. Yeah.
it helps.
Yeah.
I try to write it specifically so it isn't where like no one could like you should be able to just pick it up and listen. You know,
Right on. Right
even
on.
if there is other stuff going on, because
Well,
I feel
that-
like it should be fun.
That's what always annoyed me about soap operas. There are a lot of stuff that if you aren't following for 10 years, you won't know what the hell's going on. I mean, I was just watching old episodes of the TV show Dallas, which I never realized that's like a soap opera at night.
Oh,
But
yeah.
man, if you didn't know like that, like Bobby came back and there's two dads. I don't know if you guys knew any of this stuff. I'm like, what the hell? So
Wait, Bobby came back. I didn't.
Bobby
I didn't
ca-
get
Bobby
that
was
far.
killed
Thanks for
off and-
ruining
There
it.
you go. See?
Wow, 40-year-old
Out of it.
spoiler.
Bobby came back.
But with you guys, I guess it's okay. You're saying it doesn't necessarily, deter people from wanting to tune in or go to the
Right.
show. Then
No, I try to make it like I don't know. This sounds like so egotistical to talk about
Here
stuff.
it
I hate
comes.
talking about stuff. No, it's more just like I try to make it like a singular experience. If you go to see the show, you'll be able to follow whatever's happening, regardless of your previous knowledge of the show.
okay,
That's the idea.
okay.
But the nice thing about our new project is we're both big Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Outer Limits fans. We
Good
I
times.
loved Anthology. My wife Emily,
Inside Number 9 is the big one
Inside
for
Number
me.
9, yes.
The best show. If you've never seen Inside Number 9 on BBC, it is the best show made in the last 10 years. That's it.
I was just gonna say that on the
That's it.
BBC English TV. Yeah, a lot of that stuff I'm following. I didn't even realize I'm following one of the radio and TV station with the newspaper. Like it's not the BBC, but it's like the other one that's big there. I forget what it's called. Lad Bible. I'm following that. I didn't even know it was not even based here. That's like from London. I'm like, oh, okay. So I love you. Well, we're going to talk about that. What about Doctor Who?
Oh, you mean
He's got
that?
tattoos.
Oh, look at this for the camera. There's a camera right
There's
there.
a camera right there.
Look at that.
My Gallifreyan on my arm.
Nice.
Yes, my wife and I got not quite matching Gallifreyan tattoos. She got her own Gallifreyan tattoo
bigger?
many years ago.
So
Hers
I'm
actually
guessing
got-
you're a
so-
fan.
I'm a
Did you like
big-
the 70s
Okay,
Doctor or the newer Doctor?
I began with the newer Doctors, the 2005 when it rebooted in 2005.
Oh, okay. This is the
But
younger Doctor.
There's the younger Doctors, but it sent me in a spiral into
Dude,
everything. I
Tom-
love
Tom-
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker.
Tom
I was
Baker.
going to say Tom
Baker.
Baker is
To me,
Yes.
that's Doctor
Tom
Who.
Baker
He
is my favorite.
I
I
mean,
think of
David
all of them,
Tennant's my
yeah.
doctor because that's kind of when I got into the new stuff. He
Same, yeah.
made the most of me. But Baker is amazing. I love Tom Baker.
There were two before him. People don't even know that.
There were
And
three before.
there were wait, there were there's
Oh.
three. Maybe I'm losing track.
There was William Hartnell.
The black
Then
and
there was
white
John
guys.
Pertwee. Oh, sorry, William Hartnell, and then there was another one, and then John Pertwee, the second one, whose name I cannot believe. I can't
Okay,
remember.
that's-
Patrick
yeah, I-
Troughton. Patrick Troughton.
Okay.
William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee.
What does
then
he
Tom
win
Baker.
for getting all that?
Yeah, no,
Is
he's
there like
definitely a
a-
Who guy. That's for
is there a
sure.
love Doctor
contest
Who.
or-
Yes.
But again, we bring up the thing. I mean, you don't necessarily with your guys' play. You don't with Doctor Who. You probably don't have to know what's going. You don't know who the Daleks are and all that stuff,
Sure.
but you could probably tune into one from recent and then
Oh,
one
yeah.
from 20 years ago and figure it out.
I love that Monster of the Week sort of. It's like things like Star Trek serialized. The Monster of the Week episodes, things like that. That you can pick
Smallville
up.
had that.
Did they? I guess they did. Yeah.
They had a Monster of the Week thing.
Smallville.
Smallville.
Oh,
Monster of the Week
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But it's just great because, like he said, it's fun to follow an ongoing story, and all of those things do have ongoing stories. But you can pick it up and enjoy it for what it is. But if you do follow the whole thing, then you get just those little extra bits that mean more to you.
I think the comparison here would be the X-Files.
Yeah, that is a great
It's
comparison.
like the
Love
X-Files,
it.
like they had so many great Monster of the Week episodes, but then like they always had an overarching thing with like Mulder's sister and like what's really going on and the smoking man and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when they came back with like their reunion, I was like, oh, okay, they're just kind of trying to pick it up right from where they left off. Like,
never
all right,
saw
that's
any of the
cool.
new
I
ones
thought it
at
was
all.
all right.
It-
The reunion, yeah,
I'm-
it wasn't great. It was fine.
I like seeing that they bring stuff back all the time. I mean, they're rebooting a lot of things these days. It
Mhm.
seems like
It's
because
true.
people don't remember from the
Sure.
80s or whatever, or the 70s, whatever. But no,
Gotta
you guys
remind
are
'em.
you guys are kind of like a homage to the old style radio, which I love, and I hope everybody, excuse me, in like a week or so goes and gets tickets for the December shows.
We-
And again, it's over in Woodridge, which or isn't that like unincorporated? I'm trying to think what that area is. It's not Downers Grove. It's definitely Woodridge.
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
Not Lamont.
not Lamont, on Lamont Road.
On Lamont Road. There we go.
Yes, but just south of 75th Street. We're over there.
And they could see you guys live. And then obviously they're going to find you guys. What just search for the name of the player? What are they searching for?
Spectral Silhouette Radio Show. We're on everything. Also, to add on to what you said, I think everything that is old is new again.
I feel like
Um,
that sometimes.
Comes back
yeah,
around.
and
I mean, look at like
you know,
we're talking about Doctor Who. What about Star Trek? That keeps reinventing
love Star
itself.
Trek.
Same.
Star Wars
I'm a
is like
big
never
Trek
ending
guy,
now. It's
man.
like
Yeah.
wow. So you guys
Trek
are, you know,
yourself.
yeah, you guys are bringing
Wreck
back
yourself
a,
before you wreck yourself.
you're bringing back a great genre of radio / live plays. I love it. And it was great having you guys in. It was fun. I wish we had a little more time, but we got our other guests wondering what's going on. So I guess we'll wrap up for this show, and we'll definitely go see you guys as long as it's not sold out in December in Woodridge, Illinois. And everybody have a great night. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Bell and Company, and we'll see you next time right here, Intellectual Radio.